Okay, so semen retention. It's well, it's definitely a thing. We're diving into some fascinating sources today
Yeah,
to uncover like what it's really all about,
right.
especially the benefits,
Hmm.
boosting focus, getting things done,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. And we're looking at this book, Why You Should Never Masturbate by David Baldwin.
Well, and what's interesting is this isn't just some, out there idea. Semen retention, it's actually woven into a lot of different traditions, spiritual traditions, medical
Oh,
traditions.
really?
Yeah, Ayurveda, traditional Chinese medicine. You even see it in some religious texts. It's about seeing semen as more than just, a biological fluid.
Okay.
It's a vital life force.
Okay, so unpack that a little. Life force. I mean, the book gets pretty intense about what semen is.
It really does. It goes beyond the basic biology and frames it as this potent energy source, almost like the horsepower of the
Right.
body. And they say by retaining it, you're channeling that energy into other functions, mental clarity, physical energy, even charisma.
Okay, now that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Charisma, focus, energy. Sign me up.
Right.
But like, how does that actually work? What's the logic?
So the book lays out this 35 to 40 day cycle for semen regeneration.
Okay.
Ayurvedic texts talk about a similar time frame, about a month for a healthy young man to rebuild after ejaculation. But this book, it takes into account modern life stress, bad sleep, all that, and says 40 days to be safe.
So no quick recharge, huh? It's like treating it as this valuable resource.
Exactly. Not to be wasted. And this ties into this concept of ojus from
It's so good
Ayurveda. Yeah, think of it like refined vital energy, and it's linked to semen. Ojus, they believe, is responsible for immunity, vitality, even your aura, that thing that makes you captivating.
Okay.
And they say semen retention increases your ojus, making you healthier, more magnetic, all that.
That's a bold claim,
It is.
but fascinating, especially for someone, like our listener who wants to get things done. Imagine having that edge
Oh, absolutely.
in a meeting, tackling a project.
That's the whole idea. And it feeds into the book's emphasis on mental clarity. Baldwin says semen retention can sharpen your focus, boost your mental stamina,
Okay.
which, again, lines up with what you're saying about wanting to learn efficiently, cut through all the noise.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not even just about, like, holding back.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
He talks about meditation, too, right?
He does.
As a way to strengthen the mind.
Absolutely. It's like a 1-2 punch
Okay.
to maximize your mental game.
But before we get too carried away, elephant in the room,
Right.
like, what's science say about all this?
Right, right. We got to acknowledge that not all of this is backed up by, rigorous studies.
Right.
Which, to be fair, the book even says itself.
Okay.
It encourages readers to make their own conclusions
Sure.
based on what's presented and to be aware of the limitations of the research out there.
So it's an invitation to think critically.
Exactly.
Right. Like, are there parts of this that science just hasn't caught up with yet?
It's a fascinating question. And it gets even more interesting when you see how deeply rooted this concept is in traditions around the world. This isn't new. It's woven into Jainism, Hinduism, traditional Chinese medicine, often linked to spiritual growth, discipline.
So it's like this long history of seeing semen as something sacred to be respected,
Yes.
harnessed for,
Right.
like, personal transformation, not just having kids.
100%. And what's interesting is why you should never masturbate. It's not just theory. It gets practical, too.
Okay.
Offers guidance on actually incorporating this into your life.
Does it really?
Yeah. Even has a quick start plan if you're intrigued.
Love that. Practical stuff.
Right.
And it mentions yogasanas too, right? Like we
That's
talked
it.
about, it's like opening this whole door to self-discovery.
Absolutely. And he goes even further with this idea of semenability.
Semen one.
Semenability. Basically, your capacity to retain and use your semen, like your personal energy blueprint.
So like it's different for everybody.
Exactly. Just like physical strength or how sharp your mind is.
Okay, so not one size fits all.
Not at all. And the book gets that. It emphasizes understanding your body, your rhythms, what feels right for you.
So it's less about like strict rules and more about self-awareness.
Yes.
Finding that sweet spot
Yes.
to maximize your potential.
There you go.
Okay, that makes sense. But with all these potential benefits, how do you actually incorporate it? It's not like you just flip a switch, right?
No, not a switch. You're right. It's a process, building habits, like you
Yeah.
said. The book has a whole approach, but it's gradual, like
Yeah.
training for a marathon,
Okay.
not a sprint.
Got it. So where do you even start? Are we talking like meditating in a cave for 40 days?
No, not quite. He actually starts with some pretty simple stuff, like tweaking your daily routine.
Okay.
Big thing he talks about is starting your day with 2 to 4 glasses of lukewarm water,
Okay.
just to kind of cleanse and hydrate first thing.
Right. Right.
But, and here's the catch.
Oh,
You got to drink it slowly, mindfully,
okay.
no distractions. No phone, no coffee, not even talking.
Seriously. No multitasking first thing in the morning. That's tough.
He's all about intention, even in those small moments. Believes it enhances the effects of the water, the energy.
Interesting. Okay, what else? More early morning surprises.
Well, remember we touched on the cool-off testicles technique?
Oh, yeah. How could I forget that one?
Right.
Not something you hear every day.
Exactly. Well, he's big on incorporating that into your routine, too.
Really?
Yeah, ideally after a cold shower.
Okay, so no hot showers. Got it.
Yeah.
But seriously, what's with the cold blast? How does that fit in?
So it's two things. One, minimizing exposure to anything sexually stimulating.
Right.
And two, it's about physically calming those urges, redirecting the energy.
Like a reset button.
Exactly. And this plays into a bigger point he makes. You got to have an active, engaged life,
Right.
boredom, inactivity that actually works against you with this.
That makes sense. Keep busy. You're not as,
Exactly. Channel that energy into stuff you're passionate about. Remember you were talking about focus, productivity.
Right, right.
Imagine that, but with all this extra mental and physical energy.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. But what about those times when, those thoughts, those urges, they pop up anyway?
He talks about preparing the mind. He gets that we live in a world that's just saturated with this stuff,
Oh, yeah.
Sexually suggestive material everywhere.
Everywhere.
It's about being mindful of what you're taking in
Right.
and consciously shifting your attention.
Like a mental redirect.
Exactly. Instead of getting stuck on that thought, put your focus on a project, something creative,
Okay.
retraining your mind to focus on what matters.
Got it. So practical tips, mental strategies, but what about the big picture stuff? Happiness, fulfillment, all that.
That's where it gets really interesting, I think. He kind of challenges that traditional idea of success. Money equals happiness.
Oh, yeah.
Which, let's be honest, is everywhere these days.
It's everywhere, yeah.
He's saying true fulfillment, it comes from within. Purpose, meaning mastering yourself.
Okay.
And he thinks semen retention is a big part of getting there, that inner peace.
So it's not just like energy and focus. It's about your values, your purpose.
Exactly. He calls it the one forever revolution, a spiritual revolution.
Wow.
That's about something deeper than just like external achievements.
Oh, like true wealth is about your well-being, your character.
That's it. Not just your bank account. And that's why he thinks this whole practice, it's like this one knowledge hub that is missed out by the world.
Okay, but let's be real for a second. Not everyone's buying this, right? This ancient wisdom thing.
Right.
There's skepticism about all this
Of course.
semen retention, even just the idea of it.
Absolutely. And he gets that. He even says it in the book. He knows modern science doesn't have all the answers. And some of the studies out there, they might even seem like they contradict each other.
Right.
But he really encourages readers to look beyond that. Look at how long people have been doing this, the anecdotal evidence.
So keep an open mind.
Exactly. And even if you don't agree with everything he says,
Right.
just trying it out, experimenting a little, that can be really eye-opening.
Because it's about personal exploration.
Yeah. See what resonates with you.
Okay, I like that. Speaking of exploring, what are some of these missing things he mentions?
Well, he goes on this whole thing about shaking hands, for example.
Really?
He thinks it's, one, unhygienic, and two, that it messes with your energy.
Wait, so no more handshakes?
He suggests other things like putting your palms together, like
Yeah.
in prayer, or bowing, things you see in other cultures that he says are more balanced energy-wise.
Huh, interesting. So, even those little interactions matter.
It's all connected, and it's the same with food.
Okay.
He's not a fan of processed foods at all. Says we need a more natural way of eating.
Which, that makes sense.
Right.
But it's tough with, how busy life is.
He's basically saying, remember, your body's a temple.
Right.
Treat it that way. He even talks about our obsession with, external beauty.
Really?
Yeah, he says true beauty, it comes from within.
Okay, but how does that tie into, semen retention?
He believes that by conserving that vital energy, your appearance changes naturally.
Really?
Skin glows, eyes sparkle, all that. It's about radiating vitality.
So forget the creams. Semen retention's the real fountain of youth.
He might say that. But seriously, he gets into this thing he calls one incorrect step and searching for the answers for a lifetime.
Okay.
He's critical of how focused we are on curing diseases instead of preventing them in the first place.
which, yeah, when you say it like that,
Right.
kind of backwards.
Exactly. And he thinks semen retention, because it optimizes your health overall, that's a big part of prevention.
Makes sense. Strong foundation, your body thrives.
There you go.
Okay. But what about someone who's already pretty healthy? They're not, constantly masturbating. Does this even apply?
That's a great question, and he actually talks about that directly. There's a whole section on what he calls one missing understanding for non-masturbators.
Okay. Missing understanding. What's he getting at?
He says it's not about storing up semen in your body like money in the bank. It's about understanding that it is this vital life force
Right.
energy that you got to use wisely,
Right.
no matter how often you're actually ejaculating.
So it's not about holding back, but how you use that energy, right?
Exactly. He's got this analogy, compares it to a tree,
Okay.
draws nourishment up from the soil, transforms it into leaves, flowers, fruit. Our bodies, we can transform semen into energy too.
Oh, I see.
Fuel our growth physically, mentally, spiritually,
I see. But this is sounding kind of intense, like reaching some peak state of being.
Right.
Does he think everyone could get there?
He talks about this thing, immateriality.
Yeah.
It's about getting past the limits of the physical body, connecting with something bigger,
Wow.
but not escaping reality, more like living in the moment.
It's more aware, more, alive, purposeful.
Wow, that's like leveling up for real. But that takes work, doesn't it?
He's honest about that. Discipline, effort, challenging what everyone else is doing.
Right.
But he says the rewards, they're huge. More energy, clearer mind, deeper sense of purpose.
Okay.
It's about reaching your full potential.
So he's saying there's this other way to be happy,
Yeah,
not the instant gratification thing we see everywhere.
exactly. And he even talks about a positive future that could happen.
Okay.
If more people got on board with this.
Yeah.
Less conflict, more creativity, everyone's healthier, happier.
That's a nice thought.
Right.
But how do we even get from here to there?
Baby steps,
Okay.
Don't go for complete abstinence right away, maybe just one or two new things.
Right.
He compares it to making a plan for your money, your education.
Yeah.
Set aside time to learn this stuff, try it out.
So fitting it into our lives, not trying to live like ancient monks or something. Yeah. Yeah, and he says it helps to have someone in your corner,
Okay.
a mentor, a teacher, someone who really knows this stuff.
Right, to guide you.
Exactly. Answer your questions, give you advice.
Makes sense, like having a trainer, but for your energy and well-being.
There you go.
But there's so many different traditions, interpretations. Where do you even start?
Well, the book actually does a good job of breaking down how different groups see it.
Hmm.
Jainism, Hinduism, traditional Chinese medicine.
Oh, interesting.
It's really cool to see how long this has been around.
Right.
Part of their beliefs for centuries.
Oh, it's not just him saying it. It's this whole history.
Exactly. And even though they all do it a little differently,
Right.
they all agree on the basics. Semen is powerful,
Yeah.
and it can make you better in every way.
That's pretty wild. But I bet there's still people out there who think this is outdated, maybe even bad for you.
Oh, for sure. And he talks about that. He says, look, science doesn't know everything, and some people, you'll never convince them.
Right.
But keep an open mind, Look at how long this has been around. Maybe the research just hasn't caught up yet.
So it's about challenging what you think,
Yeah.
questioning things.
100%. And honestly, one of the best parts of the book is he talks about his own experience with this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How he was skeptical at first, the struggles he had, and then how much it changed his life.
It's always different when it's personal, Makes it real.
Absolutely. Reminds you, it's not just some idea, real people are doing this, and it's working for them.
So, big picture, as we wrap up this deep dive, what do we want people to take away?
No matter what you think about semen retention,
Right.
this is about questioning your assumptions, looking at things from different angles, and taking control of your own well-being.
It's about realizing you have the power to make choices that are good for you, body and mind.
Exactly. Even if those choices are different from what everyone else is doing.
And hey, the more you know, right, about yourself, your body, the better choices you can make.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
This deep dive, it's given us a lot to think about.
It has.
Sparked some curiosity, I hope.
Yeah.
So, as you go about your day, consider the possibilities. Maybe this is the start of your own journey.
The path is there.
And that's a wrap on this episode of The Deep Dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deeper.